Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time. Welcome to the 2021 live remote VEX Robotics World Championship presented by the Northrop Grumman Foundation. To get started, please join me in greeting Mr. Dan Mance, CEO and Chairman of the Board for the Robotics Education and Competition Foundation.
In an ever-changing and complex world, it's more important than ever that our nation's youth are prepared to bring knowledge and skills to solve problems, make sense of information, and know how to gather and evaluate evidence to make decisions. These are the kinds of skills that students develop in science, technology, engineering, and math. This is important. Let me say it again. In an ever-changing and complex world, it's more important than ever that our nation's youth are prepared to bring knowledge and skills to solve problems, make sense of information, and know how to gather and evaluate evidence to make decisions. These are the kinds of skills that students develop in science, technology, engineering, and math. I wish I could take credit for this statement, but it comes from the U.S. Department of Education. But this statement supports why I firmly believe the REC Foundation exists. This is the reason I come to work every day. This is the reason that VEX Robotics makes some of the world's best STEM education products. And it's the reason we continue to find innovative solutions to still have a season. Not everything we tried worked. Part of the REC Foundation's vision is experiencing failure and persevering. I really think we mastered the experiencing failure part this year. Anyone remember the first live remote tournament competition? Or our March town hall with no sound? Yeah, I kind of blocked those out of my mind too. But we did innovate and persevere, and that is why I'm beyond excited to welcome over 1,700 teams from 49 U.S. states and over 35 countries to the 2021 live remote VEX Robotics World Championship. I strongly believe that because of the challenges we faced this past season and the innovative solutions the entire VEX Robotics community brought forward, we're in a much stronger position than any time in our history to expand the reach of the REC Foundation and VEX Robotics programs to include even more communities, more countries, and more students. We have a historical opportunity. Let's review just some of the many accomplishments VRC and VEX IQC students accomplished this past season. NITI in California created a scoring app for LRT VEX Changeup to more easily track scores and strategize in real time. This app was used across many events and by many teams. In fact, this app is available at thevexworlds.com to use during VEX Championships this year. Students in Arizona developed an entire program and interface remote VEX skills events that is the foundation is what being used today for the LRS competition. Students developed what we're using today at VEX Worlds. Multiple students in the UK and the US created a competition platform called Online Robotics Competition at Home, or OKRA, and they hosted events, including a championship, all to give VEX teams another platform to compete. Jillian in Florida designed a robot using VEX parts to connect patients in nursing homes with friends and family. She successfully implemented the robot in multiple nursing homes across Florida and even started a not-for-profit to expand the market. Arya in California wrote and published an introduction to VEX Robotics book. At 17, he wrote and published a book. Students at Dublin Robotics used the skills they learned from VEX Robotics to design and patent a robotics medical assistant vehicle. They have patents. These kids in high school have patents. These are just some of the amazing positive outcomes to this challenging year. Look at what VEX Robotics did. They saw that the community needed a STEM activity to do remotely. I mean, we were challenged, right? People couldn't go to school and they couldn't do their learning. So VEX developed this VEX Code VR and they distributed it for free. And to date, over 1.5 million unique users from over 150 countries have run over 89 million programs. Think about that, 89 million different programs coded and run. What an achievement. And what an amazing way to increase computer literacy. The REC Foundation has actually seen the impact on our programs. The coding this year has been better than ever. So thank you, VEX, for really coming through and making such a difference. And when it comes to accomplishments, there is, of course, LRT. JFK said, "We do these things not because they are easy, but because they are hard." And LRT was not easy. It was difficult and challenging. Very, very difficult, very, very challenging. So we came up with LRT way back last September. We knew students weren't going to be able to compete traditionally, but we feel it's so important in our program that students compete to both enhance their technical skills, but also improve their soft skills, their communication, their problem solving. And there's no platform better than in-person competitions. Well, that's what we thought. We wanted to recreate that experience. So the team at the REC Foundation and VEX Robotics developed LRT. What we did is we created a platform, a peer-to-peer connection that gives students the chance to still have something normal to do. And they were able to compete even though their schools and clubs were shut down. It was a lot of effort, a lot of effort, but I think we could see the results. I mean, we have 1,600 teams here from 35 countries because of LRT. I want to give a special shout out to the LRT team. I don't think anybody will truly understand the sacrifices they made. They were here so many nights, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, way into the hours to make sure that teams could compete. You remember those first LRT competitions? We had a lot of learning to do, and we continue to expand and persevere. Towards the end here, as more and more countries started doing LRT, they started working around the clock to make sure teams in Korea and Malaysia and Japan could still compete. What an accomplishment, what an amount of effort. You know, all these accomplishments I've just talked about have impressed me so much that I never knew exactly how strong our community was. And it's inspired me to do more, to ask more, to challenge more, and to demand more. And today I am sharing my vision for the future that will help our mission for years to come. In 2020, over 70 countries participated in at least one registered VEX robotics competition. But what I have seen from the community this year, we can even do better. I want to increase the number of countries in Africa that participate in VEX robotics by 25 so that over 35 different African countries will participate in an REC Foundation African Championship. I want to double the number of countries in South and Central America that have VEX robotics teams so that the International Robotics Championship in Mexico is the largest robotics competition in the history of Latin America. I want to start 2,000 new VEX robotics teams in rural America so that even more students get to feel the excitement of competitive robotics and learn important STEM and workforce development schools. And my biggest, and I think my most important goal is that I want every team that competed in 2019-2020 season but could not compete this past year to return to our program. Every single team. And when we accomplish this, I will consider it the best achievement of my career. But the REC Foundation and VEX Robotics can't achieve these goals alone. The entire community has shown how strong we are when we work together, and we invite all teams to help us achieve the goals. With the generous support of our sponsors, we are going to reach even more emerging and underserved areas this year. But we are going to need our veteran teams and experienced teams to help. We will soon be announcing our mentorship program so that everyone watching today can directly help start and support new programs. We will bring our most experienced teams together to work with teams that need help to teach, explain, and coach. We will use LRT to make sure all teams, no matter where they are located, have a chance to compete with experienced teams helping them get there. We will use the VEX and new RECF knowledge bases to provide support materials so that every team, every coach, and every student has the resources they need to design, build, and program robots and know how to use the design process and compete in events. And we'll make sure to award those teams that mentor and support these emerging programs. I am absolutely excited to see what we will accomplish working together. As Helen Keller said, alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. I want to thank our sponsors, especially our presenting sponsor, Northrop Grumman Foundation, for all your support this season. Our sponsors asked what we needed to keep the programs going, and they stepped up by giving us funds for team registrations, equipment, and funding for LRT. We would not be here today without their generosity. To our coaches, parents, and event partners, it's not only the RECF and students that had to adapt this year. You may have had the hardest job of all. Thank you for finding a way to give your students a chance to meet, build, and program robots and compete. To the Student Advisory Board, thank you for your insight and contributions this season. I've really enjoyed our conversations and the lighthearted banter, and yes, I know I owe you Uber Eats cards. To my staff, you did an amazing job this season. We had to pivot, and so many of you took on responsibilities and projects outside of your job code. But we did it. We salvaged a season, and we kept the mission going. I think very few people in the community will really ever know the extent of your sacrifices, But I do know, and I deeply appreciate and respect every one of you. I promise 2022 will be easier. Finally, I want to thank you, the students. Your perseverance has been admirable, and I'm honestly amazed at all you have accomplished this season. Oh, and students, get your memes ready. There just might be an opportunity to show them off at VEX Worlds. Details will be coming later. Again, thank you everyone, and have a great experience this week.
Hello everyone, my name is Scott Stapp and I'm the Chief Technology Officer at Northrop Grumman, where tens of thousands of technologists spend their days discovering ways to make the impossible possible. You might have heard about some of our projects, which include an unmanned aircraft that can stay in the air for more than 30 hours at altitudes up to 60,000 feet, a robotics servicing satellite that can dock with another satellite at 7,000 miles per hour, and a 3D printed rocket engine that can power a hypersonic vehicle to speeds more than 5 times the speed of sound. From the depths of the oceans to the furthest reaches of our solar system and beyond, our Northrop Grumman pioneers work hard to make this world a better and safer place. I want to congratulate every team that advanced to this point and tell you how thrilled we are to be part of the first ever Virtual Robotics Championship. This is uncharted territory for all of us, and if you intend to pursue a career in a STEM field, you'll need to get comfortable pioneering. If you think back to the beginning of the season and your team's first meeting, all you had was a challenge, and it was up to you to brainstorm and research, come up with ideas, test your ideas, retest your ideas, and finally, settle on your approach to compete and win. You may have thought you were just having fun and learning about robotics, but in reality, you are using the scientific method to advance from a simple idea to where you are today, the World Championship. You are already great innovators, and if you can achieve so much at this point in your life, imagine what you can do and where you can go in the future as you continue to learn and develop. I hope you will consider channeling the creativity you've displayed to get here into a STEM degree and career, where you can spend your days exploring artificial intelligence and machine learning, advanced electronics, digital design and modeling, data science, signal processing and communications, or one of the many other emerging technologies waiting for a bright young mind like yours. But first, let's get this competition underway. It is our privilege to sponsor this event, and the Northrop Grumman Foundation is proud to partner with the Robotics Education and Competition Foundation, which shares our belief that robotics and STEM is for everyone. Together, we strive to achieve a diverse and inclusive robotic community that reflects the world we live in today and in the future. On behalf of Northrop Grumman and the Northrop Grumman Foundation, I wish you luck. Do your best, trust your teammates, and remember to have fun.
Thank you, Scott and Northrop Grumman. We want to wish all teams well during this extraordinary event. Here to tell us more about the competition, please welcome Chairman of the VEX Game Design Committee, Mr. Grant Cox.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're tuning in from. And welcome to VEX Worlds 2021. This event is truly one of a kind. You all are about to be a part of something that has never been done before in competition robotics. And I, for one, am absolutely thrilled to see how this goes for you all out there in the VEX Nation. Let's take a minute and talk about what this event is going to look like over the next week. So we're going to begin with VRC Middle School and VRC High School doing their qualification rounds. VRC Middle School will go Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday with their qualification rounds, finishing with their subdivision eliminations at the end of that Wednesday. VRC High School will go Thursday, Friday, Saturday with their qualification rounds, finishing their division eliminations that Saturday morning. Do note, of course, that alliance selections will be taking place immediately following the final qualification match in your subdivisions. So for high school, this does mean that alliance selections will take place on Friday evening. Once these alliances have been determined, each subdivision will go through a standard 8 alliance elimination bracket to determine your subdivision champions. Immediately following that final match, the 2 subdivision champions in each division will face off in a best of 3 round to determine who will be playing in the overall finals. So for example, Science A will play Science B, Math A will play Math B, and so on and so forth. Those division champions for all middle and high school divisions will then face off during the overall finals and awards ceremony taking place on Saturday evening. For those playing in the live remote skills divisions, your tournament is a pretty straightforward remote skills event. Each team will get 3 driver skills runs and 3 programming skills runs to be ranked according to the standard criteria in the game manual. The winning teams will have their recorded runs highlighted during the overall finals on Saturday evening, so give it everything you've got during your 6 runs. That's the way that the path to the championship trophy is laid out in front of you. But that path begins with an often imitated but never replicated VEX Worlds tradition, our Parade of Nations presented by Google. With over 70 countries competing in the VEX Robotics competition, it's important to recognize all of the amazing students who are competing. So, to get things started, please welcome my co-host, Stephanie Haurigi. Stephanie, are you ready to go?
Of course, let's get this started.
All right, so we're going to start it out with Andorra. Fun fact about Andorra, the country of Andorra can actually fit into the city of London more than 3 times.
3 times, wow.
Yep.
Next we have Australia. Australia is the only continent to be covered by a single country.
Bangladesh. Bangladesh is home to the longest female-led government in the world.
Brazil. Brazil is home to more animal and plant species than any other country in the world.
Next up, Canada. Canada is home to about 20% of the Earth's fresh water.
Next we have the Cherokee Nation. Sequoyah was a famous Cherokee who invented a writing system and alphabet for the Cherokee language.
Following them is the Chickasaw Nation. The Chickasaws were revered in ancient times as the Spartans of the lower Mississippi Valley.
Next we have Chile. Chile's Andes Mountains have some of the world's largest still active volcanoes.
And next up, China.
我是来自北京工业大学附属中学7258A 的钟卓宁。
Next, let's hear from Colombia.
Nuestro país es muy afortunado por su biodiversidad.
Y lo que nos caracteriza de nuestra gente es su amabilidad y su alegría.
Por eso le sacamos meme a todo.
Nuestro nombre está inspirado en un desierto que hay en nuestro municipio.
The Czech Republic has the most castles of any country in Europe. Over 2,000 castles and chateaus.
Next, we have Ecuador. Ecuador is the only country in the world named after a geographical feature, República del Ecuador, Republic of the Equator.
Next up, we have a special message from Egypt.
احنا فريق روبوار من مصر وفخورين دي 7 سنين على التوالي نمثل فيها مصر في مسابقة فيكس العالمية.
مصر طبعا ليها حضارات امتدت لاكثر من 7000 سنه وممكن تشوف الحضاره دي في الاهرامات ابو الهول قلعه محمد علي وكتير من المزارات الموجوده وكمان موكب الموميات الملكيه اللي اظهر العالم كله واللي اتنقل فيه 22 موميا ملكيه من اصل فرعوني الى متحف الحضاره.
Next, we have Estonia. Estonia is home to over 2,000 islands.
Now it's time for Ethiopia. Ethiopia is home to the lowest place on the African continent, the Danakil Depression, which is also the intersection of 3 tectonic plates.
Wow.
Yeah.
Next, we have Finland.
Hi, we're Team 4 Orange Musketeers from Finland.
Some parts of Finland lie within the Arctic Circle. This means that on some days, the sun never sets. This picture was taken at 1 a.m.
Tenttiä kisään
Pelataan reilusti.
ja pidetään hauskaa.
Moi moi!
Next we have Germany.
Hi, I'm Leo.
And I'm Vincent.
And I'm Marius.
And we are Team Heinz from Germany.
Wir sind das Team Best Goes aus Berlin, Deutschland und wollen euch heute etwas über Deutschland zeigen.
Wir freuen uns hier zu sein und Hallo World!
Hong Kong, China.
And now it's time for India. India has over 300,000 mosques and over 2 million Hindu temples.
Up next, we have Indonesia. Indonesia is the largest archipelago in the world and has 100 active volcanoes.
It's time for Ireland. Ireland is the only country in the world to have a musical instrument as its national symbol, the harp.
Very cool. Let's hear about the Ivory Coast. The Ivory Coast holds the largest church in the world. The Basilica of Our Lady of Peace of Yamoussoukro surpasses even St. Peter's Basilica.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's time for Japan.
Next, we have Jordan. There are over 100,000 archaeological and tourist sites in Jordan.
Next, we have Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is the world's largest landlocked country, and it's 4 times the size of the state of Texas.
Oh my gosh. Next, we have Kuwait. With their rich music scene, Kuwait is home to the largest opera house in the Middle East.
Now it's time for Lebanon. Lebanon is the only country in Asia that does not have a desert.
Ooh. Up next, we have Liberia. Liberia is actually Latin and translates to Land of the Free.
Nice.
The country was created for freed slaves in 1821.
Now it's time to hear from Macau, China.
我係 Leo，佢 Ryan， 呢個 team。
Up next, we have Malaysia. Malaysia has a unique rotating monarchy system in which the ethnic Malay state rulers take turns as kings for 5-year terms.
It's time for a VEX Worlds classic, Mexico! Mexico's capital, Mexico City, is the oldest city in North America.
Next, we welcome the Miccosukee tribe of Indians of Florida. Welcome and Chihuntamo. Chihuntamo means hello to our friends hailing from South Florida.
Next up, we have Morocco. Morocco in Arabic is Al Maghreb, which means the place where the sun sets.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Up next, we welcome Myanmar. Myanmar is extremely diverse, boasting around 135 ethnic groups.
Wow.
Yeah.
Next up, we have the Netherlands. The men of the Netherlands are some of the tallest in the world.
Up next, we have New Zealand. New Zealand was the first country to allow women to vote.
All right. Now it's time for Nigeria.
We are Team 17059G and we are from Nigeria!
Next, we have Panama. Panama is the only place on Earth where you can see the sun rise on the Pacific and set on the Atlantic.
Next up is Paraguay. Fun fact, even though Paraguay is landlocked, it's known for its large navy.
Next, we welcome the Philippines. The entire landmass of the Philippines is made up of islands, making it the second largest archipelago in the world. 7,500 islands, 2,000 inhabitants.
Wow. Next up is Poland. Did you know that Marie Curie was actually Polish? Her maiden name was Sklodowska, and she married a Frenchman, Pierre Curie.
Next, we welcome Portugal. Portugal is the oldest country in Europe. The Phoenicians settled in Lisbon around 1200 BC.
Now it's time for Puerto Rico! Puerto Rico is home to the largest single-dish radio telescope in the world.
Up next, we have Qatar.
احنا سعداء في تمثيل دولة قطر لبطولة العالم وبطولة الفيكس، طالنا المنصة إن شاء الله، والتوفيق لكم جميعا.
Now it's time for Russia. Did you know that Moscow has more billionaires per capita than anywhere else in the world?
I did not know that. Next, we have Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is the birthplace of Islam and home to the religion's holiest shrines, Mecca and Medina.
Now it's time for Serbia. The word vampire is actually Serbian. It comes from the Serbian word vampire and is the most used Serbian word throughout the world.
Ooh. Next, let's hear from Singapore.
Hi, we are 8059 Blank from Anglo-Chinese School Independent in Singapore.
Now it's time for Slovakia. Over 6,000 caves have been discovered in Slovakia so far.
Next, let's hear about Slovenia. Slovenia's brown bear population has been important for the reintroduction of numbers for all of Europe.
Please welcome South Africa. South Africa actually has 11 official languages.
And now a tidbit from South Korea.
안녕하세요. 저희는 대한민국 서울에서 온 팀 2017E입니다.
안녕하세요. 저희는 2017 B팀입니다.
And now, something from Spain.
Hola, soy Elena y el nostre grup representa Espanya.
Welcome, Switzerland! Switzerland is ranked number 1 on the Global Innovation Index, making them the most innovative country in the world.
Next up is Syria. Damascus, the capital of Syria, is the oldest continuously lived in city in the world.
Next, let's welcome Taiwan, China.
好，我们是1002A，我们来自台湾。
Now it's time for Thailand. Thailand is the only country in Southeast Asia that was never colonized by Europeans.
Next, we welcome Tunisia.
Turkey! Turkey is actually home to 82,693 mosques.
Next, we welcome Uganda. Uganda has the world's youngest population. The median age in Uganda is 15.7 years.
Now it's time for the United Arab Emirates. The United Arab Emirates boasts the world's tallest building, the Burj Khalifa in Dubai.
Next, we welcome the United Kingdom.
Hi, we're Team 07858 from the United Kingdom, the home of tea, bad weather, and the forefront of industrial innovation.
Now it's time for your host country, the United States of America.
Up next, we have Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan is one of only 2 doubly landlocked countries, meaning that they are surrounded by countries that are themselves landlocked.
Now it's time for Vietnam. Vietnam is the largest exporter of cashew nuts and black pepper in the world, with 1/3 of the global production.
Next, we have White Mountain Apache Nation. Currently, the tribe lives on Fort Apache Reservation, which covers 1.7 million acres over 2,600 square miles.
Now that we have seen all the amazing countries and nations that are involved in the competition, we are going to showcase another big piece of our robotics community. we would like to introduce our first ever celebration of diversity. We think that building the world's most accessible robotics competition is about more than numbers and more than just the amazing countries already involved. Please take a look at some of the experiences that our programs have created to reach some incredible students.
Robotics in general came to the district about 7 years ago. Based on the first 2 years, we saw how much success the robotics program was having within our district. So the special education department wanted to branch out even further and offer this exciting opportunity with robotics to our specialized program classrooms, which consist of functional life skills, adaptive living skills, and total communication. Exactly what adaptive robotics is taking that robotics program initially and sort of modifying it to meet unique needs and learning styles that present our population in our specialized program classrooms.
When you're talking about self-contained classrooms of students who have varying significant to moderate disabilities, people typically underestimate what they're able to do. So when people think of robotics, myself included, it's sometimes can be overwhelming because you think like, oh, I'm not very tech savvy, I'm not good at building things, I'm not an engineer, or I don't have a mathematics or science brain. And so I think they right off the bat kind of discount that our kids are capable of achieving these goals.
The impact in which robotics in general has had on our specialized program population is somewhat immeasurable in the sense of it's allowed our students to collaborate more effectively with one another, to collaborate more effectively with other campuses, giving them a sense that they know they're not alone in this endeavor, and it's provided them with an insurmountable amount of skills, ranging from social skills, mathematical skills, science skills, an introduction to the arts. There's so much involved in this program, and there's so much room for learning that it's nice because it allows our students to take their education beyond the traditional classroom setting.
What would you say to someone who's interested in joining, but they're a little hesitant? What would you tell them?
Yeah, just ask, don't be shy.
What I also love about VEX IQ particularly is that their manual for how to build the robot is all visual. And I think that's great, especially because most of my students, if not all, are non-readers. And so even this small thing that they do in their manuals allows my kids to still be able to access it and create it. And especially our students who are have been diagnosed with autism or on the autism spectrum, they really flourish with these types of hands-on activities, and they just go crazy.
Kids in learning disability, they really don't get to do nothing, so it gets them like more stuff to do. I guess like if they can't go out in places, they can just like do little things with different schools.
It's been from the start to beginning, it gained a lot of momentum, and then it was kind of like a roller coaster ride. 1 minute there was interest and then didn't come well, and then it was just kind of all over. But now it's definitely steamrolling towards something bigger than we anticipated. And first it just started off as a idea of robotics is something new, let's pick it up. We were fortunate enough to bring robotics to all these schools on the reservation.
What are some of the biggest impacts robotics has made on your students and your schools?
For me, since I'm not there all the time, I do see some of the kids from when they first come in and just their growth throughout. It's just the ability to open up and talk more and to actually use critical thinking. Some of the kids we have in the program, they can be really shy and aren't really used to talking for themselves. That showed a great amount of growth with these initial set of kids, and now every year the kids are talking more and they're not afraid to showcase their skills and their talent. So definitely that allowed them to communicate on a different level, and also not only with just their fellow kids from the reservation, but when they go to Phoenix, when they go to the Worlds, they're able to communicate because they do have that common knowledge. A lot of our growth comes from the kids themselves and just their hands-on learning engagement with it. we would have parents asking us, what is this robotics thing my kids are talking about? What is STEM? And then we would tell them, well, this is what they're doing, this is what they're learning. And then it's easy to let them know. It's like they're playing a video game, but they're being more active. They're talking, they're walking around, and they're not looking at a screen the whole time. We've had tribal leaders take notice of it and also endorse the program. Right now, the continued success every year is getting bigger and better that the community wants. And the school districts and the schools themselves want to incorporate more of the robotics into the system, because it's, kids tend to learn better when it's hands-on, and everything that robotics encompasses is definitely what's needed in our area. The kids just being happy with what they're doing and the challenges they're facing, and it's different to hear a kid talk to their parent about how tough it was, but how their robot didn't work because they did the wrong program or entered the wrong code, and then it kind of just makes them ask questions and start researching themselves or coming to us for the knowledge.
English isn't the language we speak, robotics is, I was so impressed to see the way that students from different backgrounds, different residential schools, different mainstream schools, deaf families, hearing families, different race, all of them come together in one room and truly develop a way to communicate with each other about robotics and compete with each other about one found hobby that they love. But really, I have a love and excitement for teaching, working with students. I don't teach science, I teach students, so seeing their faces light up when they actually understand a concept always has been thrilling to me. But now is the opportunity for me to kind of give back to the community what they deserve and what I missed as a deaf child growing up. So it's so nice to give back to them and see it come full circle. I didn't really have a role model in my community who was really interested in me. I was always interested for, I don't want to say STEM back then. I wasn't, STEM wasn't a thing. But I loved figuring things out, problem solving. I loved that kind of content. So, and that's just who I am. So I think this job fit great for me. And I think, Harry mentioned he loves to give students, someone to look up to. And that's a lot of my goal too. You are able to do a lot more than what you think you can do or what you've been told. You can do anything.
The STEM Hero Award is presented to a devoted individual who has impacted students' lives and provided them with opportunities to expand their knowledge and solve problems in the world of STEM. Raquel Temez is CEO of the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, known as SHIP. SHIP changes lives by empowering the Hispanic community to realize its fullest potential and to impact the world through STEM awareness, access, support, and development. SHIP's vision is a world where Hispanics are highly valued, influential as the leading innovators, scientists, mathematicians, and engineers. Since she was appointed CEO in 2017, she expanded SHIP's national programs, services, and resources and has led the growth to over 13,000 members and almost 300 chapters across the U.S. She has transformed SHIP into a national organization focused on empowering the Hispanic community and creating a powerful network of students and professionals via the promotion of STEM careers. Before her position with SHIP, she was the Chief Legal Officer and General Counsel for Source America, a national not-for-profit that creates employment opportunities for people with significant disabilities. She began her legal career as a trial lawyer for the U.S. Department of Labor and worked as a corporate counsel for multiple organizations. She's been widely recognized as a leading female Hispanic in business and legal sectors, and her commitment to diversity and inclusion for the next generation of STEM innovators inspires countless professionals and students. And she inspires me to work even harder to make sure the REC Foundation continues to actively engage in the Hispanic community in our VEX Robotics competition and workforce development programs, so that all Hispanic students have opportunities for STEM careers. On behalf of the Robotics Education and Competition Foundation and VEX Robotics Competition, it's my pleasure to present you with our STEM Hero Award for the 2021 VEX Robotics World Championship, and hereby induct you into the STEM Hall of Fame as an Inspiration All-Star in recognition of your outstanding commitment towards advancing Hispanic students in STEM.
Good morning, buenos dias to Dan Mance and everyone at the Robotics Education and Competition Foundation. Thank you so much for this incredible honor. Unlike many of you, I'm not a scientist, a technologist, engineer, or mathematician. I'm a lawyer by training, and efficiency isn't part of our vocabulary. We write 10,000-word documents and call them briefs. So receiving this award is a little surreal. More than anything, I see it as a testament to the work of SHIP that is done to empower Hispanics in STEM, to show the world what our community is capable of when given the right tools and what we can build with them. To me, you are the real heroes, the young women and men who are carrying the STEM torch forward and lighting the way for others to follow. This past year has been one of the most challenging any of us will ever face, but in those challenges lie endless opportunities for new ways of thinking, for a world that's more diverse, inclusive, and equitable, for a future where science and technology are the driving forces for good. As you think about the year ahead and the many to come, I want you to promise me something, that you will dream big. You're at a point in your lives where anything is possible. You can do or be anything you want. Don't lose sight of that. Don't forget the boundless potential you possess, because the world needs every last ounce of it. No matter your passion, no matter your career path, understand that you have the power to make an impact in your chosen field, not just in the organization you work for, but on the lives of others. Some of you have probably heard the saying, a rising tide lifts all boats. It means that the stronger our economy, the stronger our society is, the better off everyone will be. My advice, don't see yourselves as the boats. See yourselves as the tide. Now is the time for you to rise, to create the solutions that lift everyone up. On behalf of the entire SHIP Familia, thank you again, warmly and sincerely, for this incredible honor. While we cannot be together, your mission and message have lifted me like a rising tide. And don't let that tide roll back. Keep pushing forward, one day, one idea at a time. Thank you y mil gracias.
It takes an entire network of volunteers to inspire the next generation of engineers, scientists, mathematicians, software engineers, and problem solvers. These next 5 Inspiration All-Stars have been instrumental in creating the programs in which teams participate today. Please join us in welcoming our inductees into the STEM Hall of Fame.
Vinton Middle School's VEX Robotics program goal is to expose students to technology and engineering-based programs that will prepare them to take on the challenges needed to work in their 21st century community as productive and successful members of society. The success of the Vinton Middle School VEX Robotics program cannot be separated from its founder and sponsor, Mrs. Casey Wing. Mrs. Wing is not only a brilliant teacher, but she is also a coach, mentor, and even a mother figure for her students. Her commitment to them is profoundly evident. Mrs. Wang can be found drill in hand, toiling away in her robotics lab with her students every day after school and often until dark and even on weekends. At a rural Title I school, funding is a consideration. Mrs. Wang often dips into her own pockets to provide students with anything they need, from the tools needed to build robots to after-school snacks. Through the robotics program, Mrs. Wang has garnered support from the community like no other. Mrs. Wang's commitment to her students and this program cannot be overstated. However, her greatest contribution is that she teaches students to believe in themselves and builds confidence. She makes success a reality for them. She pushes them to create something they can be proud of, and often this is their first experience with true pride. She shows them the value of hard work and praises them for their efforts. Under Mrs. Wang's leadership, VMS Robotics has dominated the field, having earned the honor of representing the state of Louisiana in the World Championship. Students on Mrs. Wang's teams secured the third and final Louisiana spot by taking home the highest award possible, the Excellence Award. This tremendous success would not be possible without the tireless efforts and encouraging mentorship of Mrs. Casey Wang. We are proud to present Casey Wang with our Inspiration All-Star Award and hereby induct her into the REC Foundation STEM Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Casey.
Teacher, coach, event partner, volunteer, and judge. Taking on even one of these roles is a triumph in itself. Yet, Mrs. Charity Marisich takes on all of them. With a physics master's degree and 15 plus years of educational experience, Mrs. Marisich has been bringing STEM to students throughout the community. Beyond founding the successful Damien Robotics program in 2013 as its head coach, she is Damien High School's Engineering Computer Science Department head, PLTW coordinator, and Student Spaceflight Experiments Program, SSEP coordinator. As the head of a program that has won the Community Award twice and VEX World's Judges Award, Mrs. Marisich embodies the dedication to expanding STEM outreach. She establishes a robotics competition where middle school teams coded parallax bobots. About 35 teams from 20 middle schools competed in the challenges, including a maze and dance competition. 4 years later, this bobot competition paved the way for the VEX IQ grant program. Her innumerable hours of work made it possible to give out $2,000 to 9 local middle schools to kickstart their IQ program. Her hope to expand their programs further, bringing robotics to more students while deepening the camaraderie within the STEM community, is what makes her the epitome of the all-stars who make the VEX Robotics experience memorable. We are proud to present Charity Marisich with our Inspiration All-Star Award and hereby induct her into the REC Foundation's STEM Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Charity.
Autumn and Bridget Selecki, sisters from Albuquerque, New Mexico, are in their first year as REC Foundation VEX Robotics students and have been active in the robotics program at R4 Robotics for 2 years. Their first introduction to robotics was at a summer camp a few years ago, and they have loved being part of the program ever since. Coach Shelley and Mrs. Karina have been great instructors, coaches, teachers, and mentors to Autumn and Bridget. It's amazing for them to see women in this field with a wealth of knowledge to help them learn. Seeing strong women role models in the STEM field encourages them to pursue STEM careers for themselves. Coach Shelley and Mrs. Karina are always willing to help. They challenge their team to problem solve, explore new ideas, and try new things. When things get tough, they walk students through and support their team as they find the answers, teaching them that all problems can be solved with a little teamwork, some perseverance, and a lot of patience. When the challenging events of the end of last season, March and April 2020, came along, their lives changed. All activities were canceled or moved online, and it was challenging. But getting to still participate in robotics made the difficult season a bit easier. They had something to work towards, something to look forward to, and something to keep them busy, active, and challenged. Coach Shelley and Mrs. Karina have worked so hard to give teams the safe space to learn and grow. and they have challenged everyone to see how to make a difference in our community during this time. They provide so much value to students and the entire community. Some may say they could have easily given up or postponed everything until a later date, but they fought for students, knowing they needed them and this program. We are proud to present Shelley Grunig and Karina Omdahl with our Inspiration All-Star Award, and hereby induct them into the REC Foundation's STEM Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Shelley and Karina.
Our next Inspiration All-Star was an educator, volunteer, coach, event partner, engineer, program founder, and passionate STEM advocate. But he was much more. He was a mentor to me and so many other people during his long STEM career. He was a dear friend and positive role model to so many in and outside the robotics community. He was kind and thoughtful and always willing to help anyone. He also had a great sense of humor and delighted in sharing his stories. Terry Marbut joined the REC Foundation after retiring from Jacksonville State University, where he was the department head of technology and engineering program. Terry was an early believer in the VEX Robotics program as a means to teach the engineering design process and STEM to both high school and university students. When Terry joined the RECF, his primary responsibility was to manage our teacher training program. He helped transform the program to make it both easier for the REC Foundation staff to teach and easier for the teachers to learn. Terry also loved the VEX-U program and believed in the new factory automation competition using VEX V5 Work Cell will transform workplace development and was so happy to see it launched. Here is what Leslie Cruz, his longtime coworker, dear friend, and forever sidekick, said in Terry's nomination letter. Terry was instrumental in bringing VEX Robotics to Alabama and continued to grow the program each year. Terry was responsible for the first competition in Alabama and was the event partner for the first Alabama State Championship in 2014. He sponsored the Jacksonville State University robotics team and drove a 15-passenger van full of college students to Kentucky so they had the opportunity to volunteer at the World Championships each year. Terry was later hired by the REC Foundation and continued to share his love of STEM by leading the teacher training program and being the RSM for Alabama and Georgia. Terry had an impact on everyone he met. Perfectly said, Leslie. Terry passed away in October 2020. His wife and the love of his life, Andrea, is at VEX Worlds today to receive Terry's STEM Hero Award. The REC Foundation has launched a grant in Terry Marbut's name to start VEX-U teams. Terry, we love you and we miss you tremendously.
Our STEM heroes and Inspiration All-Stars all have compelling stories to tell. Each of them means something special to our community. Next, please join me in congratulating all of our online challenge winners. Please welcome Luann Cormier, Regional Support Manager at the REC Foundation, to share more details about these resilient and successful teams.
Online challenges are the third major prong on the REC Foundation approach to making this season open and accessible to all students. Students are encouraged to learn or test new skills in a fun and engaging way through STEM-based challenges and submit them online. This season, we offered more online challenges than ever before, which resulted in over 1,600 submissions from teams across the globe. In fact, online challenges were so popular this year, we've added more. Currently, there are 5 online challenges open, including RecycleBot, Theme It Up, Game Animation, Educate Online, and Repurpose. We can't wait to see your submissions. These are all open until June 1st. Now, let's talk about the online challenge winners that have already been chosen this season. Dozens of judges spent hundreds of hours poring through the submissions. We were amazed at how creative our students were in finding ways to work on projects together while following the safety guidelines of their region. We saw robots delivering food to food banks, high school teams creating workshops to support younger teams, students designing and programming robots, and code remotely, and all of our girl power teams changing it up, one girl at a time. Now, let's announce the winners. And the winners of the VEX Robotics competition Annotated Programming Skills Challenge Award sponsored by the REC Foundation are Team 2381C from Ontario, Canada. Team 333A from Skokie, Illinois. The winners of the Make It Real CAD Engineering Challenge Award sponsored by Autodesk are Team 7686B from Harrisburg, South Dakota, and Team 95070A from Saratoga, California. The winners of the Robotics Team Website Challenge Award sponsored by Dell are Team 41091A from Union, Kentucky, 9181C from Delta, British Columbia, Canada, 2381C from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. The winners of the VEX Robotics Competition Promote Award are 97101G from Fremont, California, 98807A from Wenatchee, Washington, 64647N from Bakersfield, California. The winners of the VEX Robotics Challenge Girl Powered Award, sponsored by the REC Foundation, are 5327Z from Dublin, California, 6546A from Singapore, 4253A from Taipei, Taiwan, China. The winners of the Community Award, sponsored by Google, are 936C from Hong Kong Island, Hong Kong, China, 1028Z from Omaha, Nebraska, 2602G from Hopkinton, Massachusetts, 33011X from Morrisville, North Carolina, 3303X from Dublin, California, 8059X from Singapore, Singapore, 1965Z from Lincolnshire, Illinois, Team 2360A from Naperville, Illinois, 421H from Cincinnati, Ohio, 90F from Chester Springs, Pennsylvania. And the winners of the Electronic Online Challenge, sponsored by Texas Instruments, are 5327C from Dublin, California, 10C from Redmond, Washington, 8059Z from Singapore. And the winners of the Unite Online Challenge, sponsored by Google, are 8995E from Aurora, Illinois, 10C from Redmond, Washington, 27085B from London, United Kingdom. And the winner of the Fusion 360 Award, presented by Autodesk, is 986A from Simi Valley, California. The winner of the International Robotics Honor Society Service Award, sponsored by the REC Foundation, is Galaxy Edge IRHS from Chula Vista, California. And the winners of the Thinking Outside the Box Photography Challenge are and the winners of the Encore Online Challenge are Congratulations to all our teams for their amazing effort this season.
And my favorite part about Worlds is getting to see all of the designs and cultures come together to try to achieve an objective.
At VEX Worlds, I met people from all over the world who are passionate about the same things as me. I found wonderful female mentors and role models, and through them, I was given the opportunity to speak at girl-powered events and work with younger students.
We love VEX Robotics as we learned that with teamwork, perseverance, and collaboration, we can achieve anything.
Although things will be virtual this year, I know teams have been working hard on their robots, and I can't wait to see all the different innovative designs and creative features that make every robot unique.
we are turning our attention to the different strategies involved in a live remote tournament. Whilst we won't be able to meet teams in person, communication will still be a big part of the game.
Working virtually has actually given us the chance to learn new skills, like how to use computer-assisted design software to design our robot. That's one thing that I love about VEX. It gives us skills that we can apply to real-world engineering industries. I'm really looking forward to VEX Worlds and getting a chance to see just how far all the teams in the world have come and how hard everyone's worked on their robots to overcome the challenges that they faced this season.
Thank you, RECF!
Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce you to the RAC Foundation's operations team for a very special announcement.
Hello, VEX Nation. The REC Foundation operations team is excited to share some special news about the 2021 VEX Robotics World Championship.
From May 17th through May 29th, we're going to be working with our community to raise the bar once again. This you already know.
We are attempting to be recognized by the Guinness Book of Records as the largest online robotics championship.
Thanks for tuning in each morning and evening to learn about our progress and get more information about the event.
Thanks for making the 2021 VEX Robotics World Championship one for the record books.
So as we take that time to look out upon the 70 nations that are all participating in that VEX community, it really hits home for me the true value of what this community really means. This community is how we all have been able to make a bit of a difference this year, supporting one another, supporting alliance partners, supporting rivals, supporting other schools, supporting the REC Foundation and VEX Robotics for trying something that's never been done before in competition robotics. We really do know what a struggle this year has been for everybody, but especially our students. I know personally that many of you have dreamed of attending VEX Worlds for years. I have dreamed of meeting many of you for years, and you all have lost that opportunity. And so for that, all I can say is that I'm sorry. I know how much that you all have given up for the sake of others. And please know from the bottom of my heart and the heart of everybody here at VEX and the REC Foundation that your sacrifices have not gone unnoticed. By sacrifices, I mean a year of your lives, a year of memories, friendships, proms, graduations, robotics competitions, the whole change-up game as it was originally designed. But none of that matters because I am still so proud of everything that you have accomplished and how you have shown perseverance to all of us in the VEX community. So please join me in congratulating the 1,400 teams making it to VEX Worlds this season. Those teams are about to show us over the next 2 weeks what it really means to compete at VEX Worlds. Those teams are walking in, crossing a hollowed line of history. They are joining the likes of the Green Egg Robotics, the Aura teams, the Cavalry, even Caution Tape. These are teams who over the years have known what it took to become champions of the world. And now the stage is set for you all in 2021 to take on this 3-day marathon, all in a journey to be crowned the VEX Robotics World Champions. But enough from me. Normally, this is when I would say something like, good luck, and I'll see you on the playing field. So I think this year instead, I'm going to say, good luck, and I'll see you in your classrooms, living rooms, garages, basements, wherever your playing fields are. Let's go.